Hi and welcome to Ottawa Eats. I'm your host Tom Schoch. One of the best places to eat in this entire city is Preston Street. Maybe you haven't seen this place yet because it's pretty new on Preston Street. It's called Salt. And that's where we are today because, hey, when you're cooking, you always need just a little bit of salt. So come join us. We're talking food and we're talking to one of the most interesting chefs you're ever going to meet in the kitchen right here on Ottawa Eats. Welcome to Ottawa Eats. This is the guy who's in charge of the kitchen. Right? Thank you for having us. And again, someone else on the show who has a luxurious, luscious beard. It's delightful, by the way.
Thank you.
May I admire it?
You can.
From close up?
Don't touch it, though.
It is thick. It is thick. So let's talk about your kitchen and what you do in the kitchen. Why are you doing what you're doing? And tell us a little bit about what you can find here at Salt.
Why am I doing poor life choices is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've been in the service industry forever.
Yeah.
And I got tired of making a lot of tips, so I decided to make no money in the kitchen instead.
Right. Good choices. Okay.
So went to Algonquin about 10 years ago and graduated the program there and started cooking, plugging away, and 10 years later, here I am.
Yeah, there you are. And so what's your signature style? What are you going to find here at Salt? What's on the menu?
It's all regional, seasonal food. It's always what I've done. So as much local produce, meat that you can find is what we're using here.
Okay.
But I've always been into global flavors. I don't ever want to be put into a box of he does French food, he does Italian food, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Not interested. So kind of whatever blows your face off is kind of what we're cooking.
Okay, so what's the last thing that really blew your face off?
That I ate?
Yeah.
Little Indian restaurant in Orleans, actually. One of my favorite places to eat is vindaloo that they make with lamb, and just couldn't stop sweating and dying the whole time I ate it, but it was absolutely amazing. Loved it.
So whenever you're out creating dishes, because that's what the menu is yours, right? So what are you looking for? What do you actually what's something that really grabs your attention? Is it color? Is it texture? Is it taste? What is it?
It's all flavor, right? First and foremost, always. Like presentation is super important. I want to make sure that people are excited about what they see when it comes to the table.
Right.
But I always want to make sure that when you have that first bite and you're looking out into the dining room and people are going, holy shit, like that. Yeah. That's the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
They're feeding their spouse or their partner or whatever the case may be, and that's kind of why I do what I do, right? So that's the first thing I'm looking for is flavor profile and making sure that people are stoked that they're spending their money in the right restaurant, right?
Okay, so what's the fanciest thing that you've ever made that you said, wow, I can't believe that actually turned out as well as it did?
Fancy?
Sure.
Fancy's not my thing, bro.
Oh, you look like a fancy guy. You got a fancy beard.
We're doing not fancy, but interesting. Right now we're actually doing a really cool foie gras dish, so it's a fancy ingredient.
Okay, it sounds fancy.
But I dumb it down with waffles and ice cream.
But now it sounds delightful.
Yeah, so we do a brown butter waffle, and we do a big slab of seared foie gras with peach sorbet and a pistachio praline, and texturally it's just phenomenal, and there's temperature differences, and it's awesome.
All right, so pretty interesting guy.
I'll be able to try that later on.
We're going to step into his interesting kitchen, and you need a beard to go in. Thankfully, our cameraman has one as well. So come along, Ottawa Eats with Ryan, head chef here at Salt.
Cheers.
So we're in the kitchen with the main man, and I know that you've dressed up for the occasion, which is lovely, by the way.
That's what I sleep in, bud.
Oh, really? Oh, well. I'll get you some pajamas after the show.
Thanks.
Superman or Batman?
Wonder Woman.
Okay. Comes with a cape, by the way.
Cool.
All right. So what are we making first?
We're going to do our quail dish for you right now. So doesn't really look like much of a quail at this point, because we have taken it pretty much apart. The legs have been removed. We kind of lay it out flat. Quail's a super small little bird to begin with.
Right.
So we lay it out flat. We pound it out. And I made a bread stuffing with some mushrooms.
Oh, very cool.
Wrapped it in prosciutto.
Okay.
So that's kind of what you got.
Right. So it's a nice looking little tube. So that's not a fruit roll-up, is what you're saying?
It's not a fruit roll-up, no.
So shouldn't eat that like a fruit roll-up. So whenever you're making this dish, what's the first step usually in how you put it together?
What we're going to be doing is searing off the prosciutto, get it nice and crispy.
Okay.
That way the inside's going to be kind of that nice kind of pinkish medium, and you're going to end up with a beautiful product. So we've got a cast iron pan on, get it nice and hot. Throw a tiny little bit of salt and pepper. Anytime you wrap anything in prosciutto, you don't want to put too much salt on it because it's naturally pretty salty.
Right.
And then we'll stir that in the pan.
Right.
And while we're doing that, I got another pan on already. We got some beautiful mushrooms from a local farmer, Christoph, who I've been using for a long, long time. These aren't your typical grocery store mushrooms. These are called Kingarengi mushrooms.
I wonder how many people who are watching the show right now are having flashbacks from the 1960s.
Wow. I'm having one right now.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we'll get those in a pan. We'll try to get a little color on our mushrooms, a little color on our quail.
Now this dish here, would this be considered one of your main courses then?
It's going to be a main course, yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, whenever you wrap something in prosciutto, now people have used prosciutto in the past, but if you're just cooking at home, prosciutto, it cooks fairly quickly and it gets crispy quickly.
Yeah,
right?
it does for sure, yeah, because we make sure it's relatively thin.
Yeah.
When you're eating that dish, you don't want it to be
rock hard,
chewing through like weird deli meat or anything strange like that, right? So it's a pretty good quality product. It's thinly sliced, and we just want to get a little crisp on it, and then keep an eye on our mushrooms at the same time.
Is there any kind of meat that you wouldn't use as a wrap? Like salami, maybe?
Yeah, you want something with like a nice, like you see the nice fat content in the prosciutto?
Yeah.
So what that's going to do too, as it renders out, it's going into our quail.
Okay.
So it's helping keep it moist.
Right.
Which is kind of a nice thing to do, right?
Right. Do you find that you start with a certain meat more often than any other kind of meat because you just like working with it?
Duck.
Really?
Yeah, I love duck. Yeah, I always have it like whether it's breast or leg or hearts or.
Now is that a personal thing because you like the taste?
I just love it. Yeah, personally. Yeah.
Okay.
And I figure. Well, I know better than you guys do, right? So if I like it, you better like it, or you should.
Well, you do have the authority of the beard, so nobody's going to question you.
That's it. So.
You didn't like your dish? The man's in the kitchen. He's the one with the beard who looks really threatening. Yeah.
Well, that's. This is about to go in the oven. We're going to heat up this puree that I made to go with it as well.
Okay, and what's the puree?
The puree is a onion sous vide.
And what is that for people that don't know what a sous vide is?
What that is slowly cooked onions, white wine, butter traditionally, and I usually throw a little bit of thyme in there and kind of slow it all down, and then you puree it. What I did instead of adding butter was we rendered down. We have foie gras on the menu, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But all the scraps when we're cleaning our foie, I rendered that down and used the foie gras fat instead of butter.
Wow!
So we infused foie instead of being butter rich, it's foie rich, which is even
richer,
more ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's a wealthy dish.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
A rich dish. Do you sample a lot of your own dishes when you're cooking? Or are you always tasting?
We always
everything?
taste. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's one of the things with any of my young cooks that start working for me. That's drives me insane if they're just putting out food and they don't taste it.
Right. What's the one lesson that you took from when you were at Algonquin in the college to now? What's the one that you think, I wish I would have known that sooner. It would have really helped me out. Is there one big lesson that you could tell anybody who's trying to go into this business?
Oh, don't go into it. What are you, nuts? It's a great job, and you got to be, honestly, I think you got to be a little bit demented. Yeah. If you don't have issues, there's just no way you're ever going to make it in a kitchen. So you take the quail out.
Very nice.
And something I always like to do, you throw a little knob of butter in there. Get that going. Something that probably a lot of people don't do at home. You just kind of butter baste it.
Yeah. What
happens is the longer the butter's in the pan like that, it's going to kind of go from its regular state, it's going to start to caramelize. The milk fats will caramelize and it's browning the butter.
Okay.
So you kind of get this really nutty caramel kind of flavor out of it.
That looks
and if I had some thyme or rosemary right now, I'd throw it in there and even add a little bit more depth of flavor.
So how long would you do this? Just for like less
just
than a minute?
Just a few minutes, yeah, maybe a minute or two.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it works with everything. We do our fish, everything gets basted. So you set that aside, that'll rest for a second. And these are some homemade gnocchis that we made. So it's semolina flour, a little bit of egg, potatoes. Off we go. That's the mushroom that we roasted. We try to get a nice little bit of color on it. Grab our sous vide that we did. guys didn't see me drop the missing legs of the bird.
Oh.
So what we did with them, which was painstaking, was we took the thigh bone out, scraped the meat down the shin bone, and then we wrap it in cellophane really, really tight. So this little ball, we poach it off, and we bread it, and we deep fry it. So it's like a little quail lollipop. So
that's an extensive process.
It's a colossal pain in the ass, but it looks really, really good, and it tastes great.
I always marvel at your skill with a knife. Like anybody who works in the kitchen, I don't know how many times I've cut myself. I'm sure you have too, but...
Oh, for sure. I've lost, somehow that grew back. I don't even understand that.
Beautiful.
So that's that. We won't do microgreens. We normally put a little bit of jus on top of there. But, so that's the quail dish.
All right, beautiful.
Perfectly cooked as usual.
Now, what is this called on the menu if people are looking for it?
That would be, I think, roasted quail. I can't even remember. I rate these things. Like I said, if it's not 3 a.m., I don't really know what's going on.
Ask for the quail dish.
Ask for the quail with quail lollipops.
So you may have heard this right off the top. If you joined us off the top, you talked about this dish.
Yep.
It is basically, what is it, foie gras with a waffle of some kind?
Foie gras with a brown butter waffle, pistachio praline, and peach sorbet.
So this is part of the insanity?
And a little bit of peach jam.
This is what happens to you at night?
Yeah, this is a part of the insanity again.
Do you drink a lot?
A lot.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say in the evening, but he cut me on. All right.
No, I'm face right now.
What is foie gras if people don't know what
foie
it
gras
is?
is duck liver. And there's a whole lot of controversy behind foie, but I mean, it's come a long way from the PETA videos they show that are from 1972.
Right.
It's now 2015, and the animals are treated much more ethically. I visited a farm in the Eastern Townships in Quebec and seen where this comes from and how the animals are treated.
Right.
I felt really good about it and always have, and it's an absolutely delicious ingredient. So, we use it here quite often.
So why the combo with foie gras and a waffle? What?
Insanity again. A lot of people use, the classic thing is you want a little crunch, right? Because it's essentially this big chunk of fat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you let that sit in the pan for too long, it'll just be liquid fat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Sitting there, it'll completely disappear.
Right.
So everyone likes to have a little bit of crunch underneath their foie. Brioche has been used to death, and whatever else, toasted breads, and this and that and the other. So, I like waffles. What the hell? So
who doesn't like waffles?
We and also foie really loves sweet, so we kind of made a regular waffle batter, but used a little bit of brown butter in there, and so I'm going to cook it up for you and show you guys.
All right, great. That's exciting. We're having waffles.
That's it.
Ooh!
It also likes salt, so that may look excessive, but absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let's put a little bit of oil in there. So you can see how much smoke's coming off that pan because, again, like I said, it's pretty much fat. So you're dumping this big chunk of beautiful liver right into a hot pan. You're going to get that. In the last restaurant I was at was so small and the ventilation was so crappy. We couldn't even do foie because we would just, people would be running for the door.
So that cooks really quickly.
Quite quickly, yeah.
Wow.
I'll throw it in the oven for maybe 1 minute. We'll grab our waffle and plate up the dish while we're doing that. But you kind of want to get about a medium rare on it. So you got
to be pretty delicate with it, right? Because it'll just fall apart.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had a foie burn before. You flip that into that fat, and it waves onto your hand. Forget about it. That's emergency room.
Yeah. All right. It's good to know, and that is pretty smoky.
Super smoky, yeah. So we'll grab a plate. I had that little bit of peach jam I was talking about before.
Oh, very nice.
Almost a straight line. Not bad.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
That's good. For a man who drinks as much as you do, that's not bad.
Not too bad.
All right, that's good. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll take a look at the waffle, see where we're at. I'll let it sit for 1 more second.
All right. And this is like a regular waffle that you're making as well. There's nothing...
Yeah, the only thing that's different about it is there's a little bit of brown butter in there. So again, we were talking about when I was basting the quail earlier, you kind of change that milk fat from you're caramelizing it, right? So it kind of gets nutty and caramelly and really, really delicious.
So you're a guy that's really all about the subtlety of the flavors.
Yeah, the nuances and kind of build depth of flavor, right? So when you're eating one thing, it's just not this flat bite of food. You want to kind of...
So by that token, then, what is your least favorite thing to eat?
calf's liver, probably.
Really?
I just hate it, man.
Just base? It's just it?
Yeah, like liver and onions. That like I
grew up
and
on
I love
that.
liver.
Yeah, I grew up on that.
Chicken livers and all the like duck liver, but cow's liver and meh. Maybe it's because I was fed it as a kid and it just grosses me the hell out now. I don't know, but I am definitely not a fan. So there we go. Kind of want to get that almost kind of medium rare feeling of a steak, almost like kind of nice jiggle to it,
right?
Where you know it's done. And this thing, hopefully, will come out here without me having to blow up this waffle maker. There we go.
Wow.
So we got that. Take a little bit of our pistachio praline here.
That's definitely something unique. That's never seen that. I would never think that you would do that.
Yeah, I kind of like just challenging the regular perceptions of food, right? I mean, when I go somewhere, that's always what I'm looking at when I'm looking at a menu. We have great steak here.
Right.
Come and try it. If you're into steak, that's awesome.
Yep.
For me personally, I got a barbecue at home. I can make a steak. Like I'm trying to look at the menu and go, "Wow, those guys, that must suck for them."
But not everybody can make a steak like you, though. That's the difference, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. But
although I've never had your steak, so maybe I'm making it up.
That's it. I don't know. So there's our peach sorbet, and this is what I like the most about this. Really, is the difference between the hot and the cold.
Yeah.
And then you've got crunch. So there's texture. There's temperature difference. It's unctuous. It's fantastic, really. So,
drink you're gonna have with this, because you're a man who likes it.
I guess a nice little glass of Sauterne would be really, really nice.
Wow, sounds beautiful. There you go. So I didn't think it existed, but he told us about it right off the top, and there it is: foie gras with a waffle, peach
sorbet, peach jam, and a pistachio praline.
Wow, boggles the mind. It's Ottawa Eats on Rogers TV. Favorite part of the show is when the chefs that we have on the show do something with something that you think couldn't be done. And this is what we're working with right now. Now you might look at this and go, I don't want to put that in my mouth. But
I actually convince guests when I'm kind of out in the dining room, they ask me like, what should I try? What should I have?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing? Octopus, man.
Give this a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not overly fishy. I mean, people, I think, the reason why they don't like it is if they ever tried it, it was some idiot who prepared it for them and didn't know what they were doing. And you're chewing a rubber band essentially if it's not prepared properly.
And this is not some idiot.
We do not do that.
Yeah, this is an idiot, but not some idiot. All right.
Not some idiot.
So how do you prepare this?
This is already cooked. So
okay.
We've had this simmering for about 2 hours or so, bottle of red wine, some other aromatics, herbs, and all that kind of stuff, till it's nice and tender. Basically a nice way to check it if you're ever doing it at home, if you get the nerve to do it. When you pull it out of your pot, you stick a knife in. If the knife just comes right up nice and clean and the octopus is sitting on your board, you're not pulling the octopus with you, your octopus is good to go. So all we're going to do now is I have made a little glaze here out of onions, garlic, ginger, a little cilantro, a little soy, and we're going to put our octopus in there.
I love how you make that sound so casual. Oh, I just made this glaze. It's only got 9 ingredients in it. Not a big deal.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, for some of us,
I'm not an arrogant bastard, but
but you are some idiot. No, I mean you're not.
So we throw that in the oven, reconstitute that. While we're doing that, grab a plate. I like that you have a white shirt. Okay,
so I'll stand back for this part.
I did warn you, but
yeah.
So what that is right there is actually squid ink.
Okay.
So defense mechanism for a squid.
I feel like giving you the line from Chief Wiggum. Nothing gets squid out, see? It's my Wiggum. It's the best you're going to get.
It's not a bad Wiggum, actually. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's a little, that's a squid ink vinaigrette. So again, mirrored the same kind of flavors that are in the glaze. The glaze has got a little more heat to it. There's some chilies and stuff in there.
Okay.
This is basically squid ink with a little bit of sesame and a little bit of rice wine vinegar, just for a little bit of acidity.
Now, if people are a little squeamish with squid ink, It doesn't really have a taste, does it?
No, try it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. I mean, you'll taste the sesame and that kind of stuff in there, but squid ink wise, it's...
And that's a great taste. That's really nice.
So if you guys want to back up, I'll kind of show you the plating of it. There you go. I just pollock the hell out of that thing.
I like it. Yeah, so you just whack it with a spoon?
Yeah. No, we don't try to get too pretty, right? So I'm going to drop one of these for you as well. So what this is an egg yolk, and in order to bread it properly, we kind of throw it in the freezer for maybe half an hour, just kind of get a little bit of frozen crust on the outside so we can handle it.
Right. And
then we bread it and we'll deep fry it.
Wow. That's just a frozen yolk?
Yeah, well, half frozen. Now it's pretty much thawed, ready to go.
Okay.
The only reason why we half freeze it is just to make it easy to handle so we can actually bread it without breaking it and cursing all day long.
Was this another one of those jotting down notes?
Nah, just common sense, really. It's all right. I don't expect you to understand.
So the idiot makes fun of me. That's great.
That's it.
So
you went down the idiot road.
Yeah.
Now it's open season on you, brother.
Right. At least my shirt's clean. That's a positive, right?
Yeah. For now.
Wow, that's
Nick,
very cool.
Just grab me some micro radish for the salad. I go through, I think, more butter than anybody else in the world. Throw a little knob of butter in there.
And it's funny because people tend to be afraid of butter.
I don't know why they are, because if you got margarine in your fridge and you think it's healthier for you, you're fooling yourself.
Right.
You're eating plastic. I'm not, the king of moderation, let's be honest, look at me, but I mean, that's all it really is, right?
You look like a level-headed guy.
Oh,
a guy that pushes the plate away.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Wow, very cool. And it's got a brilliant smell coming off it as well.
It's all about flavors, right? I want it to look cool and interesting,
right.
But at the end of the day, it's got to taste good, man. It's got to smell great. So we just do a little microgreen salad with it. There you go. That's
Wow.
the octopus, braised octopus, deep fried egg yolk, and squid ink vinaigrette.
Beautiful. Well, that's it for another episode of Ottawa Eats. My good friend, now my friend. I won't touch it, I'll just hover around it with a beautiful beard. This is Salt. Where can people find you?
Salt.ca, or you give us a shout, 613-693-0333.
There you go, and it's right here on Preston Street. Great restaurants here on Preston Street, and this is one of the finest with the most unique man we've met so far. I said unique.
I'll take it.
Okay, all right. So which one of these am I going to try? This one here?
Yeah, try the foie.
Because you talked this up at the beginning, so I'm going to give this a shot. Do I need the whole waffle and everything?
Get a little bit of that sorbet in there. You get that hot, that cold, all that good stuff in there.
Get that in there too. I'm going to just mangle this, but
that's
okay.
That's what you want.
That's how it's meant to be eaten. So the waffle is is it a sweet waffle? Or is it?
Yep, sweet, for sure.
Right. Wow. You've got to come here and try this. That is absolutely amazing.